Here we are in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with at the Thriller Chiller Film Festival, and I have Vishnu Seesahai from Brooklyn, New York. Vishnu, could you tell me a little bit about your background?
My background in film was I went to NYU's MFA program and left it. I was there to take class with master director Spike Lee, and
Awesome.
He was working on another film at the time. So for the first 3 weeks, he never showed up. So I said, I grabbed a couple of people from the class. I said, why don't we make a movie? The same money we're spending here, we could actually make something. So
Right.
I went and made a 7-minute short. It was a martial arts short called Prison Wars. I had background in martial arts, so I knew a lot of martial artists. And wrote, produced, directed, and also unscreened with that. That was the first time I was able to sort of juggle a couple balls at the same time. But it was just a short, so it was able to make its way around the festival circuit. Won some awards, and then I started working in Hollywood, like doing what's called second unit, which is essentially doing action sequences, fight scenes, car chases, stuff like that.
Very cool. Have you been in any movies I would have heard of? I'm thinking probably.
Probably only if you're a fan of action, like martial arts action. You would have heard like of TKO. Lionsgate released that, and a few other projects like horror movies like Zombie Strippers, and I did second unit on that. Which I think Zombie Strippers is actually become a cult classic or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't seen it myself. But...
Jenna Jameson. That's
right. Very cool. Very cool. And how did you, got to dig a little further back, how did you end up getting interested in doing film?
I started off really, I was actually an engineer, and I was at school at the time, and I had to take a distribution course just so I could leave. So I decided to take an easy A, the acting class, and it did pretty well. Like the teacher pulled me aside and she said, you need to be doing this. And I was like, haha, I'm an engineer. And then I took a writing class after that because I was kind of interested in what the screenwriting process and formula was. And I was really hooked as a way for me to use that to tell stories, because at the time I was actually working on graphic novels on the side with some buddies who were also engineers. And I just thought that it was a good way to structure my stories and write, as opposed to writing them more as if I was writing a short story. I could just kind of write it in a script format. So after that, I went into the engineering field, and I didn't get interested again in film until I decided to take another acting class so I could be better at my job, because I was actually in a managerial role. And I just got roped into it. I got addicted to it, and I started auditioning, and I started appearing in small indie films. And I got the bug after that.
So you were working as an engineer out in L.A.?
No, I was an engineer in New York.
Oh, you were an engineer in New York.
Yeah.
And then you got the bug and you went out to L.A.
Right, and this was kind of all during the dot-com boom, so
right.
I was kind of setting up my pieces on the board so I would have enough to take myself back to film school and learn it the right way. But the whole time I was learning, reading books, just learning all the different jobs that you need to master in order to make a decent film. And my attitude was, okay, how many of these jobs can I actually go out there and do, just to see what it's like, just to see what the job's like, and know the parameters, so I know who's good and who's not really that good at what they do. And that's been my journey ever since, is to work this role and work that role on a set, everything from in front of the camera to behind. And that's sort of how I learned a lot of the little jobs along the way, because it's an army. You need an army.
Right. Yeah. Just some of the productions out there are huge.
Yeah.
So, tell me about Candid.
Candid's a love story. It's kind of a dark love story about a voyeur who meets an exhibitionist, and murder ensues.
He definitely sounds like a darker side.
Yeah, it's just it's these contrasts that come together, and then they explode. But it really centers around this main character, Jim, who's a voyeur who follows people around the city, secretly recording them and uploading them to his website. And then one day he meets this beautiful model, and she's harboring a dark secret. She's actually a serial killer. And he can't remember his past, he suppressed it. And she's sort of running from her. So together they find their own identification and their own truth, which is the meaning of the name Candid. It's candid camera, but it's also candid honesty. They have to come and be real about their past.
Yeah.
And that's sort of also their resolution. In the end, they find resolution in each other, even from the grave, So
Wow.
I don't want to give too much away.
So you're the writer, producer, director, everything? Or?
So I got a chance to really do all those jobs.
Right.
Because a long time ago, I was studying Truffaut, Francois Truffaut, filmmaker, and he's really credited for the auteur theory, which is this theory that directors could be like other artists, like writers and painters, if they controlled more of their vision. And his goal was already always about reducing the bloating that existed in Hollywood at the time, reducing the bloating on the set, how many people you had working on a set that would sort of like, mar the vision of the director. In some ways, it could enhance the vision of the director because you're working with other artists and they have their own perspective on which way to go. But if you have a very clear vision of how you want to execute it, you have to be able to convey that vision from beginning to end. You have to be able to control creativity from beginning to end. And his hope was that through a smaller set, re-engineering the process of filmmaking, you could do that. But what didn't exist at the time were cameras that could shoot in under almost any circumstance, and cameras that were very reliable, that didn't need an operator or necessarily a DP to work. The kind of technology that we're beginning to have right now. So crew sizes have reduced as a result of DSLR, and I want to see if we could reduce it to just the most finite level where it could be one person who's a director and they could also be in the film. And it's almost like a documentary in that sense where the documentarian is turning the camera on themselves. But I knew it could be done because at the time when Francois Truffaut was doing what was coming up with his theory, there was a film that came out called The Diary of David Holzman. And it was supposed to be about this guy's video diary, and then he follows people around the city. And he was doing the same thing that I'm sort of doing, but he did it with a crew. His crew is very small. He had one cinematographer, and I think he maybe had one loader. And it was just him, and the director was actually in the film. But he made it seem like, that he was also shooting simultaneously. So I said, well, if he could do that back in the 60s, the tech that we have today, we can definitely pull it off now.
Absolutely.
So that's the genesis of the process, of doing all those different jobs.
Right. Yeah, I kind of picked that up, that you're pretty much a jack of all trades and master of most of them, too.
It takes a long time, though. It really does. And I want to say that I think that everybody can do a one-man movie, because that's what I'm calling it. But I do think that, is it going to be good? Is it going to stand up? You got to learn the jobs.
Right.
You definitely have to go out there and do experiments. But I don't think that you need to go to some fancy school to do that, because it's such a process of finding your own voice and sort of your own techniques, and it's a creative process where you have to create. So.
And Spike Lee's not going to show up anyhow.
Did you see Spike Lee's last movie, by the way?
No, I didn't.
I don't know if he wanted to show up for that.
No, I didn't.
He's a master filmmaker, though. But, this new technology is giving a voice to all these other new filmmakers and other storytellers that never had it before.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some amazing things coming out.
Yeah.
So, Vishnu, could you tell me where you're going from here?
The next project is more of a sci-fi film, but it's also a horror, too, so I'm calling it a techno-horror.
Cool.
Technological horror. But it's literally that. It's a fear of your own technology. So really there's like two types of fears. Fear inside and the fear outside. Fear of the other. And technology has become this sort of like this thing that's both. It exists as both. It's outside of your body, but it's fast becoming part of us. So I can play with two fears simultaneously. And that's what this is about. It's psychological, but it's also about this crew of hackers. And we get into what it's like to be in the hacker world. We get close to the technology and we see it as they see it. And sort of like, what's going wrong in their world, how this computer virus can spread to human beings.
Very cool. So it's a computer virus that affects human beings.
Yeah, it's called sentience. And it's about an artificial intelligence that uses a computer virus to sort of like begin its takeover process.
Just curious, would it be and you don't have to answer this, but I'm thinking, the Bluetooth earpieces and things.
No, it's nothing like that at all.
No?
It's nothing like that at all.
Okay. Well, I will look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
So, one more thing, Vishnu. I like closing my interviews with an opportunity to give my interviewee to say something tell something just weird and wonderful about themselves. My website's The Weird Review, weirdreview.com. So can you tell me something weird and wonderful about yourself, or maybe your production, or your future project even?
Something weird and wonderful. I guess this qualifies as both. I was actually on the Olympic team for Taekwondo back in
Really?
1992. Never got to fight internationally, but the following year, in '93, I got a bronze medal in the World Games. So I actually came into the film business exactly the right way, through martial arts. So, and I can still kick some butt. So I'm hoping.
Oh, I'm
hoping to do another kick butt
Please.
movie at some point.
Please, you don't have to prove it to me.
Keep it up, and I'm coming for you. No.
So you are, how many degrees of black belt in Taekwondo, or?
Third degree, third dan.
degree. Third dan.
Third dan, and then other martial arts.
So that'd be Sandan?
Sandan. You're a Taekwondoist, you say as well?
No, I was a judoka years ago. The Ichi Sanshi. Yeah, I know a little bit.
Hana dual set, so it'd be set.
Oh, set?
Set, yeah.
Well,
But
it's been a while.
they call it Korean karate, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thank you so much, Vishnu. Is there anything you'd like to close with before we close the interview?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we're holding a contest for a giveaway for
Excellent.
5D on the site.
A Canon 5D?
Yeah, Canon 5D.
I'm going to stop right here and just, I don't want anybody else sign up for the, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Canon 5D.
Yep. On the site, you can sign up for the contest, candidthemovie.com.
Huh? CandidTheMovie.com.
And I'm releasing the previous film, The Manifesto, on themanifestomovie.com.
Very cool.
Some stuff coming down the pipeline.
Pretty awesome. A free Canon or 5D.
Yeah.
I could use an upgrade.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Vishnu. And from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and the Thriller Chiller Film Festival, this has been The Weird Review.
Yep.
Thanks.